You're watching A to Z episode 91.
Today's guest is Dan with Dann Kriss Games.
It's like they're trying to be too meta.
We're gonna make them an offer they can't refuse.
Much better.
Yeah. You can
buy you a drink. You can
well, I mean, he did pick out somebody we know.
Well, you sidestep the question. That technology does not exist.
Hey everybody, what's up? I'm Zach. I'm here with my co-host Aaron.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Welcome to A to Z podcast, where we sit down with the folks that make Southeast Texas a better place to live.
If you're new to the show, thanks for checking us out. A to Z is a weekly podcast available on all podcast platforms, and you can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram, where we host, clips and extra content, and we share a bunch of memes.
Yeah, and you can also call us and leave us a text message.
Yeah, what's that number, man?
You know, we can do a text message, voicemail. That's 409-206-2971. That's 409-206-2971. Nobody's going to answer this phone. It's just going to be a message, so you don't have to be stressed out thinking that you're going to have to talk to anybody.
Just leave a voicemail, and it might end up in a future episode.
It's a completely electronic thing. We're just going to see what happens with it. But today we're talking to Dan Kriss of Dann Kriss Games. He's a local guy who is just really passionate about card gaming to the point that he made his own.
Well, it's not just card games, Zach. He also does like tabletop stuff.
I'm just saying, he likes those games so much that he decided to make his own.
He's like a board game, tabletop game designer.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's right here in Southeast Texas.
He's literally like 2 miles down the road from the studio. That's one of the coolest things about doing this podcast is we find people locally that are doing huge things.
Mm-hmm.
Dann Kriss games are shipped internationally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's people in Germany that are playing the same game we
Tavern
get
Masters.
into the show, and we end up playing Tavern Masters. It's one of his shows. It's one of his games, one of his more prominent games, and we had a lot of fun. That was the second half of it. The first half is more of an interview style where we ask him how he got into it,
how he makes these games, his process of working on them and building them up. But yeah, I mean, that'll be it. Stay tuned for some events that are coming up from
I think
Beaumont.
we even have a giveaway too, right? I'm not sure how we'll do it, but we're going to have a giveaway for this episode. So if you like it and you like the game and it looks like fun, we'll have something to give away.
Yeah, we'll come up with something for the outro.
So if you listen, that's why it's really important you guys to listen all the way through the outro. You know, when you hear that music, you might just click off, but if you click off,
we had a lot of goodies back there.
Yeah, you're not going to hear how to get this giveaway, which is going to be a Dann Kriss game.
Yeah. So enjoy this episode with Dann Kriss Games. Plus, we tend to talk about everything from A to Z.
Yeah. Just not 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9.
No, we don't do numbers. We don't do numbers here. Fuck that.
Except 2.
If we did numbers, we would have gone to college and,
Yeah. Well, the only reason why we use 2 is because we can't spell 2. So we have to use a number where that's stupid.
Well, there is a A2Z podcast where they spell 2, and it's like they do a lot better than we do. That's for sure.
No, there's an A to Z podcast that I found, but it's not really a podcast. It's an EDM.
That's one of them. And then there's another one that's a sports show.
Oh, really?
That's like an ex-broadcast announcer. Obviously, they have some clout in Nebraska. I don't know where.
Oh, really?
Chicago.
Well, when I look up hours on other people's things, ours pops up first.
Yeah, so the improvised podcast is another one.
I'm just saying ours is first.
Shout outs to the other A to Z's. Yeah, we're the most prolific, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd take EDM over sports any day, but I mean, I'm not at either of them. I'm here, so you must be the best, right?
I mean, we're all right. We do fine. We're doing better and better all the time.
Hey, that's all we can do, right?
One good thing is we can now that we are getting a little bit more traction, we're getting a little more popular, it is a lot easier to find guests. And even when we do find people that want to be on here, it's just easier to convince them to be on. You know? So and we'll just start there. We're here with Dan Christophers, right?
Christopher's, yeah.
Christopher's. Okay.
Actually,
the 2 F's.
I go by Dann Kriss.
Oh, Dann Kriss.
To this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, you have kind of a pseudonym?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of a
It's your pen name for board games?
Yeah.
My nom de plume.
And Chris here is a game designer by trade, which is really cool. We have like a whole lot of really interesting questions for you about that, but we'll just start in the beginning, man. Why did you decide to design card games?
How do you design a game? Like, how do you?
It seems so involved, doesn't it? It seems like there's a lot of steps in it.
Well, first you take a crazy idea and a childhood filled with stuff like Beastmaster,
D&D whenever you're growing up?
I wasn't allowed to play D&D when I was young because my parents thought it was of the devil. But luckily, Palladium Fantasy was played by a friend of mine who was a good boy.
Yeah.
And it didn't have the title D&D on it, so it was clearly okay.
Do you remember that?
It's the same game, isn't it?
There was
It's a role-playing game, fantasy.
There was a PSA that actually had Tom Hanks in it.
Yeah.
Like in the early 80s, talking about the dangers of D&D.
It was a movie, actually. It was called Mazes and Monsters, based on a book, based on that whole false premise that the kid that went crazy.
Yeah, based on D&D.
Yeah. But he was just sadly a person with some problems that really needed some help. And we all find escape in whatever we find escape in, and it could be any number of things. I personally do like, my escape to be like of a fantasy variety because it's fun, or post-apocalyptic. That's always fun too.
Yeah, that is fun.
I like that.
Or Lovecraftian. Lovecraft's been my favorite author since I was 9. So,
So was it your interest in these kind of fantasy things that made you, because board games are mostly fantasy, right? Like a lot of them.
Actually, board games are all kinds of stuff. There's plenty of great games out there that have to do with everything under the sun and nothing under the sun.
There's superhero board games and fantasy ones.
Monopoly.
Sports board games, yeah.
Yeah,
ones about capitalism.
Yeah. One's about anti-capitalism.
Anti-capitalism, yeah.
Then there's games. One of my favorite games as far as Euro games go is called Bonanza, and it's about bean farming. Really, and it's just a simple card game, but it's actually a lot of fun.
It's kind of like Catan or something like that. It's just about a simple
different
thing.
than that, but it's more of a card game. Doesn't have the board element, but it's got a lot of trading, a lot of fun player interaction, and just a fun little game.
So how did you get into the games, into building them?
Well, actually, I've always loved games in general. In fact, like one of my first favorite board games from when I was a kid was Fireball Island, and that just got me so excited about like all these cool games. And then when I was a teenager, Magic the Gathering, I played that from like just when Revised was starting, like Around the Dark, played for years and years, had a pretty good collection for a while. But anyway, when I was like 12 and 13, my friends and I, we tried to do a little video game programming company with our computers. It was like QBasic, we're talking like early 90s. And really, the applications that we made to try and make the art for our games worked better than the games themselves. But I just always had a love for creating games. In fact, another good friend of mine, he actually went on to work for White Wolf for a while as like a contributing editor and author. But he and I used to work on a couple of card game ideas back in the day. Obviously Magic clones really for the most part. But
tabletop games that don't have a board.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Well,
like
I have board games too. They just haven't come out yet.
Oh,
they take a lot more art, and that takes a lot more money.
Yeah.
So,
I got you.
So I'm getting, I'm trying to get the stuff that I can get out as I can get it out.
So Tavern Masters isn't your first game, I'm guessing.
Well, technically it's the second game that I put out. It's definitely not anywhere near the first or second game I made.
Yeah.
But it is the first game that went into distribution.
Okay.
So.
And is this a totally independent thing, right? So you have this game out and you just kind of put out, you didn't go to anyone like Wizards of the Coast or Milton Bradley or anything like that, right?
Right.
How does one do that? You have to find a manufacturer, I guess, and
insanity. It takes a healthy dose of insanity.
Yeah, I didn't know where to start.
At first, I was hoping to shop it around, but honestly, to do that, you've really got to be able to attend the big conventions, and I just couldn't afford to go to the big conventions. I was tied down with time and,
So at these conventions, there's people just pitching games? Or is it like board game conventions?
They're board game conventions. But yeah, there are definitely lots of people up there pitching games to the big people, to the big companies that are represented there.
Yeah. Are there like the big six? Like there's like...
Well, like for instance, Fantasy Flight / Asmodee now. They're a big one. Hasbro's a big one.
Yeah.
And of course Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast and all that. And then there's some other plenty of good, strong companies out there. And then there's tons of little guys like me, that just put out a game on Kickstarter or whatever, and kind of got a start. And that's how I got my start was on Kickstarter.
That seems to be the most popular way nowadays.
Yeah.
If you go to like the Kickstarter page, there's a whole separate category for games and stuff. There's a pretty popular one from the webcomic, like Cyanide and Happiness.
Yeah.
They put out a few like Exploding Kittens and the Oatmeal have done a couple.
Yeah, Cyanide and Happiness. That's I forgot the name of the game, but it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is pretty cool. So that seems to be the most valid way, I guess, people do it. But it just seems like insanity to me. All this art, all the manufacturing, and then Tavern Masters has expansions to it and all something. Man, I can't even imagine.
Oh, and this is just what I've put out. I've got over
Yeah.
200 games, different games I've worked on,
That
in
you're
just
just
different
piecing
phases of
together.
development. Tavern Masters alone
Wait,
has
you said 200 games that you've developed, all with different rule sets,
Yeah.
and pieces.
different rule
There's
sets,
probably
mechanics.
similarities.
That's not counting the expansions or
Okay.
like reskins or anything either. Yeah, I got nothing better to do, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Every time I have an idea, I try and play it out in my head for a while. I write down whatever I can. I learned to write it down because I've lost other game
I'm
ideas
sure,
and stuff
yeah.
that were great.
I
But
I wouldn't be able to wrap my head around the mechanics. Like, I would just end up making a game that I would have to be fixing as I'm making it. I guess, I don't know. Is that a
of course,
process to it?
Absolutely.
Trying to break it?
Like once you've got a game idea down, you got all the mechanics for it, and you're ready to prototype it, you're 1% done.
Yeah.
Dang.
Most of it is playtest.
You got to sit down with your friends and be like, all right,
Yeah.
and then find out what's broken and what needs to be
Does
buffed
it take
and
me
what
an
needs
hour
to be
to
nerfed.
explain the rules?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta work on being able to get the rules out in kind of an elevator pitch style as best you can. I'm still trying to get better about that. I'm long-winded, but and then just trying out things that work. I got one game, one of my personal favorites, Realms of Destiny. It's set in the same world as Tavern Masters. It's our World of Destiny like IP, if you will, our fantasy world.
Yeah.
It's a big adventure board game. I don't know if you've played Talisman or heard of Talisman.
I've heard that name before.
It's kind of like that, only like Talisman I always loved because it was a big fantasy adventure board game, but it has a lot of stuff about it that kind of like got to me too. There's like all the roll and move, and you have to move certain spaces. Like if I'm such a good horse rider, why am I riding past the chapel for 6 rounds straight trying to get to it?
Yeah.
And so eventually I was making a fantasy game, and for the longest time, everything I kept working to, I'd work down the mechanics, and then I'd streamline them more, and I'm like, wait a minute, this just feels like Talisman.
Yeah.
So then eventually,
you're like bottlenecking yourself into something familiar.
Yeah. But so eventually I found like a different idea that in the end I actually worked that mechanic out, but when I did, I started going for it. I was like, what is all the stuff I don't like about it? Like, what do I think would make a much more fun game? So I started working from there. I've been playtesting that game for 10 years now. I mean, the base game is big alone, but I've also got 5 expansions for the base expansion that add to the board and stuff and add all new tokens. And those are all developed, done, and basically ready to go other than artwork.
Yeah.
And then I've got like 8 or 9 more expansions past that are mostly developed, just not prototyped yet.
Yeah.
So, and that's just that one game. Tavern Masters has like 15 more different expansions and mini expansions.
I messed up.
planned.
I gotta pause real quick.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, what did you
Can't believe
do?
It's too small.
All right, we're going. We're back.
We've all been there.
It's a common problem.
So you have.
Are you having trouble with your discs today?
What was the like? What got you? Were you doing all this with the intention of putting them out, or like where's the tipping point of like I'm going to release a game as opposed to I love building games?
Well, I've been developing games my whole life just for funsies, but like about 15 years ago, I really decided I wanted to start at least like being serious about it. I made a couple of different games that I'm still waiting to put out. But it's just a matter of again getting art and stuff like that, and some of them actually need a bit of updating now too. So.
Do you have to use the same artist for most of it so it looks all the same?
Actually, well, see, now personally, whenever I'm working on a game, I like working with like one artist when possible, especially for the smaller games, to give you the same feel. Like with Cthulhu, the Great Old One, I was lucky to get Ian Daniels. He's actually very well-renowned fantasy artist from England.
Okay,
He did a beautiful job on all the artwork, and I did the layouts and stuff. So if you think they don't look great, that's my fault. But I mean, he did a great job on the art, and I was lucky to get him. I actually hired a lady named Ruslana Shybinska for Sixpence Bakery. She did all the art for that and did a great job.
That's a lot of art because every card has its own thing, and like these are card-based games, right?
Right? Yeah.
Man, isn't the
It is a
internet
lot of
great?
Yeah.
You can just reach out to people in England to do your
Fiverr,
art.
right?
It is. Well, actually, I did hire Ruslana off of Fiverr.
Wow.
Yeah, as a
And
matter
now
of
you
fact.
have like a relationship, kind of.
Yeah, and I still hire her through Fiverr because that's the appropriate way to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, she loves working with me. I love working with her, and
Yeah,
that's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, the reason why I've never played this game, Tavern Masters, but the reason why I first learned about it and everything is because Byron's in this. He has a card.
Yeah.
And so I remember,
Yeah.
Yeah, Byron O'Quinn.
Okay.
He has
Yeah,
a card
Byron's
in
a buddy
here.
of mine.
And
Really?
I've seen him in here, and I still I've been wanting to play it forever. You know what I mean? And just like seeing that card, I'm like, man, I gotta play this game.
What's his character? What's his card?
He's the village potter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I like whenever I was actually going to print with the game, I was still getting the rest of the art done, and most of the layouts were ready. And then he passed, and so I had at the time I think there was 5 or 6 village bakers in there, and so I decided, I don't need this many village bakers. I'm going to cut a few of them out and make them village potters.
Yeah. And
so I developed a new card, for buying, and it's great too because. Every time I'm showing it off at conventions or something, and someone pulls a village potter, I get to tell them about Byron.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome.
Dude, that card has a story.
It has purpose. Yeah.
So I mean, I've told, God, at least dozens of people about Byron just because of that card, which is
That's
great.
so great.
Yeah, I mean, it makes this game alive. You know what I mean? That's why I want to. That's literally the reason why I've been wanting to play it for so long. Yeah. Well,
and I've got a few of my other buddies in there too, as a matter of fact, I also just recently made a promo card. It's called Stinky the Grill Cook, and it's actually it's a buddy of mine who passed away a few years ago named Philip Kirkpatrick from this area. Okay. And the reason it's called Stinky the Grill Cook is he used to run a BBS back in the day. I'm old, but before the internet was all big, we had BBSs which were local login.
Yeah.
And so he ran one called Stinky's Bar and Grill. And I used to get on there and play Legend of the Red Dragon and stuff. And some fun games. And so, I've always wanted to find a way to work him into Tavern Masters. And so I made him a staff you can hire as a promo card that I give out specially here and there.
So what is it? What is it that what is it about? There's the board games where it's there's a board and then there's cards. What does Tavern Masters have a playing field, or is it just a card based game?
Tavern Masters is just a card based game.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your play area, but there's no board keeping track of it. Sorry, no board keeping track of anything necessarily.
It's kind of like Magic, right? Kind of like Magic, or like Dominion, or
I mean, you still have your decks that you're pulling from and stuff, and everyone's pulling from the same decks. It's not like you have your own or whatever. It's not a deck builder,
right?
But then eventually there will be a few boards just with information, but nothing like you're moving pieces around or anything like that per se. At least not currently planned. Okay. But I mean, I have a lot of expansions planned, so I'm not really seeing a place where that's going to fit in anyway.
Have you seen a pretty good response off of Tavern Masters?
It's been good. Really, honestly, I hadn't put a lot of funds towards marketing because most of my funds go towards making more art to make more stuff. So. I've really been trying to refocus my efforts on doing more promotional stuff and whatnot.
Is that a hard market to kind of break into? Because I see it as a really niche thing. We have video games now and everything, and card games and board games and all of those. They have their own following. They share a following, of course, but how hard is it to break in? With all the options and stuff like that.
Well, it really depends. It depends on A, your product, B, your presentation, and C, a good healthy dose of luck. I mean, really, it's just luck. The reason I'm in distribution is because I was lucky enough to catch the guy that owns the consolidator firm that distributes our stuff, Impressions. I was able to catch him on the phone. And normally people just send people emails and hey, are you interested? There's only 2 consolidators. And I just happened to get on the phone talking for a minute. And then he said, well, normally we send out boilerplate because we're full up because the board game industry is actually at a golden age right now.
Really?
It's a huge boom, as a matter of fact. And in fact, honestly, I feel like the bubble's probably going to burst in the next year or two. And it's
board game bubble?
Yeah. I know it sounds crazy, but
if everybody's playing, how's it ever going to bust?
Well, what I mean, it's not that it's going to bust, but right now, we're at a tipping point. For a while there, if you had a board game on Kickstarter and you had any kind of presence whatsoever online, you had a good chance of getting something done.
Yeah.
But now there's so many.
It's oversaturated.
It's very oversaturated, and all the major players are using it too. I mean, even I think even Asmodee and them, have
they have Kickstarters.
I think I don't want to say for sure, but I think I've seen some that are either like them or some big companies like them that still use Kickstarter now as a marketing platform. And there's lots of Kickstarter people that, little guys like me that say, oh, well, they're just taking up all the money. And in some ways they are, but also they're bringing money to the venue too, a lot more than they're taking.
Absolutely.
So, it really does fall on the creator to make something good.
Yeah.
I could see
and you
that.
can't have sour grapes about it. You just can't.
I could see how we're in a golden age because, years back, whenever things like Stranger Things were coming out, and they were playing D&D with all these kids, and there's a lot of nostalgia and stuff like that. It's almost like it's really cool right now to be a nerd. If that makes sense.
Well, actually, it's because all the nerds in the 90s, nerd culture was big. We all grew up watching Ninja Turtles and He-Man and all that stuff.
And now we all have jobs.
And now we have jobs, and now that we're in our late 20s, early 30s, late 30s, early 40s, we have the jobs and the money. We are the major buying market for a lot of things.
And we're buying those kind of things for our kids.
Yes, exactly, because we want to share. I mean, whenever my wife and I found out we were pregnant, first thing I did, went online, found a complete DVD set of David the Gnome. It was like, it's going to happen. We also got him Fraggle Rock.
Like, that was a foundational moment of my childhood, and I want my child to have the same thing.
Exactly. I want, with video games, like, we always played the newest systems because my wife and I are both video game lovers too. But we didn't let him play the newest systems first, not for fear of him breaking them. We started him on my old NES. Well, I say my old, it's my 7th or 8th, actually. I've always had at least one working one, always. But we started him on the NES and the Atari.
Yeah.
And then after, when he was like 2 and 3, then he got to play like the Sega Genesis and stuff like that.
Nintendo,
and then we worked him up. So he had to have like a growing
like a hierarchy of sophistication.
Well, it's like, he basically got a video game education of where video games came from.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, he's actually more likely, like he has a Switch, he's got all the new games. He loves Minecraft and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He's 10. But one of the things he really loves doing is he has all the old Nintendo games that they have for the Switch. He downloads those and he just loves playing them. He was playing Metroid this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I haven't played Metroid in decades.
You know the formula to make to make a nerd.
Yeah. Well, he and I were playing River City Ransom this morning too for a while, but the latency for some reason, I guess it's just, I don't know, server stuff maybe. But
another thing too is like when we were kids and we were playing video games, we had a lot more like co-op options. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as kids, when we were playing, we'd both be on the same screen at the same time because we didn't really have the internet. And that's just not a thing really in video games anymore. Everything now is like a solitary experience. Even if you're playing even if you're playing Call of Duty,
you can play with other people.
You're playing with other people,
room.
But you're still like by yourself, kind of.
True. I mean, like
there's no double dragons and Contras anymore. I feel like
there's some Borderlands.
Well, they do.
Borderlands
They make some that are like kind of throwbacks to where you're kind of you can still get new Contra games. And play
they
them.
do. But they're not like the AAA boys though.
I think there's like that some game called like Super Bros or something.
They have like kind of rip off versions of where it's the same
it's kind
game,
of like what's kind of like Contra, but it's funnier too. Because like every time you die, you come back as like a different like Ram Bro or Command Bro, or it's like all like 80s and 90s action movie rip-offs. Like there's like a Chuck Norris one and a Terminator one, and it's fun. My buddy Nathan showed it to me.
That's what I love about board games and card games, though, is the experiences with other people.
Absolutely.
You can't do it by yourself.
But here's the thing: in your group of friends, just like you probably discovered when playing D&D. Like in D&D, some people are there because they like the battles.
Yeah.
And some people are there because they like min-maxing their characters, and some people are there because they couldn't join in the drama club, or the drama club just got too boring.
That's true.
So I mean, I'm definitely one of the third, of course. But I just love the role-playing experience. It's fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, same thing with board gamers. Some people like PvP.
Yeah.
Some people like cooperative. Some people like, casual. Some people like intense. Like if you don't have a degree, you don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
And then of course there's
what is
the
that,
other
Trivial
ones.
Pursuit, basically?
Well, I mean that's one thing, but I'd say more. Well, some stuff. I mean, like Settlers of Catan, for instance. Yeah. It's got some randomness in there, but really, if you've got a good strategy. Like a lot of Euros, as a matter of fact, they're so tight in mechanics.
Wait, is that's the style of game? Is Euro?
There's Euro, and then there's American or thematic. Some people call it Ameritrash. I hate.
Really?
That.
So there's a different like subgenre of board games.
Oh, there's tons. I mean, there's wargaming, which is like Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40K and all the World War II and World War I miniatures.
Like Risk or something like that?
Yeah, that's different. That's a board game.
Yeah,
that's an area control board game.
Area control. So
area
you
control.
Pile everybody
right.
up on.
Whereas you have stuff like Ascension, stuff like that, and that's Dominion. Those are card build or deck building games.
Yeah.
And then you have stuff like this, which is like an engine building game where you're like putting down cards that help you build more combos to get more resources as the game goes. Then you have, the big difference between Euro games and American games. American games, tend to be, but this is a stereotype, but tend to be more thematic, but also have a lot more randomness is the thing.
A lot
Yeah,
longer,
yeah.
usually too, right?
Sometimes some Euro games, well, yes.
Euro games
generally
tend to be
speaking.
like 2 hours, right?
Euro games tend to be less than that.
Yeah.
Some of them can get up there. And of course, there's a lot more hybridization nowadays too. But like something like Settlers of Catan is a Euro game. Like you have like the like you get a lot more player agency in those games. There's not a lot left to the randomness kind of thing.
Okay.
Whereas something like Magic and like a lot of the normal board games, you know, you're drawing cards, and then the randomness of that, you don't have a lot of player agency. You got to kind of deal with
You
what you're
got to
dealt.
deal with the cards you're dealt.
Right. Whereas Euro games, you're presented with a series of random options, and then you choose, you know, where to go from there. And that's a very basic analogy. It's a lot of Euro games too, at least to the older ones. They really feel like you could just hang any theme on them. Like really, it's just like
so
a
they're just
Like rules first.
just a mechanic
and then,
set.
Yeah, you just change the art and you're.
Is something on fire? Or is it incense?
I hit a vape.
Oh, cool. No worries. Sorry.
It's like it's kind of just like a framework, and you could just slap any kind of art on it and make it call it
makes
whatever you want.
sense.
Something
But
like
it's-
that. I mean, I hate to say that too, because there's plenty of amazing Euro
Well, apparently
games. that,
people
you know,
really love
but-
Euro games if they call it Ameritrash.
Yeah, and well, the European market is huge for board games.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the fact that I haven't put out like a German copy of Tavern Masters yet is ridiculous. But you know, it just takes money and time printing
Yeah,
more
it
Takes a
copies.
translator.
You know, or hunting down a company that wants to license it. You know, I actually had someone approach me about licensing it for Polish. I don't know what's going on with that, but
I don't know. Shout out to Jordan Stringer, though, man. Our Catan nights would get heated. I'm talking heated.
oh,
like,
I bet.
like especially with Austin and Jordan playing together and their brothers, dude, they would just every match ended in shouting at each other.
Oh, yeah.
And even that was fun, but it got to where we were like, we gotta play Catan tonight.
I remember playing Magic
we're
with
gonna
them.
play. We're gonna play. Yeah. So it can be fun even when it's super contentious, you know.
Absolutely.
I never really got into board games. Like I think my knowledge of board games is like Monopoly, and like Life. Life was fun.
Yeah.
Fun game.
You played
Life is a fun game, though.
Risk,
It
huh?
is.
You played Risk, right?
I never was any good at it. Nobody ever taught me how to play it, but I tried to play it.
I still remember playing Risk with my dad when it was like so long ago. The pieces were Roman numerals. That was what.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I remember playing with that. Yeah.
I've got the. I recently finally acquired a copy of the Lord of the Rings trilogy edition
Of Risk?
Yeah, I had the regular edition for years, and then I ended up losing it.
So it's like the Middle Earth map,
Yeah,
basically?
yeah,
That's kind
like
of cool.
Mordor and Gondor and the Shire and all that stuff, and then it's just still Risk, but you have your armies, and then it has some of the captain rules that some of the advanced risks have.
Oh, is it like that? Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I have the Game of Thrones Risk.
Oh, wow.
And it's badass. It has 2 whole boards. It has
Westeros
has a
and
Westeros
Easteros?
and an Essos board. So you can play 2 players just if you want and use the Essos board. You can play with 5 players and just use the Westeros. Or if you can do what I've never been able to done and get 7 people together, you can play the whole thing. It would take up all of this table.
Well, it's kind of like that Thing game we played. I don't know if you know the Thing.
John Carpenter's
Yeah,
thing?
they have a board game about it.
Dude,
I saw
it's
that.
so
I haven't
great,
seen
too.
it, what it's about.
It is
but-
fun. We only
It's
played
like a
it with
who done it. It's like mystery.
We only played it with
Cool.
3 people, but I think if you could get like 6 or 7 people in there, that would be such a fun
Yeah.
game to play.
Yeah.
There's
It
so
had
much
this-
variance
There's
in
a
like
cool
games.
mechanic.
Yeah.
You draw the blood cards, and it's like they're random, and it's like if you're it or whatever, they
You're
can test
infected.
it or whatever.
Yeah.
You're infected, and you're not supposed to tell anybody.
Nice.
So there's like this kind of like sneakiness to it.
It's good when they make good movie adaptation board games.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, recently one came out that I've heard is very good, which I'm sad about, is the Jaws board game. It's actually very popular.
You're
right
sad
now.
Really?
that it's good.
I'm sad that it's good because I actually developed a Jaws board game like about 8 years ago that I was hoping to get licensing for, eventually
dang.
put out. It's actually not that dissimilar from the one they made. I personally say that some of my mechanics are a little better, but of course I'd say that. But all in all, I haven't seen their game like played yet, and
Yeah.
it does look good, and everyone loves it. So in the end, I'll be happy to buy it, but damn it, you know.
Yeah. Do you how many video games or how many like games you have like in your back pocket do you think you can license? You know, like you just like built them, you're sitting on them, and you know that one day you could like Jaws or you know like like a Doom for or whatever, just something that requires licensing.
I actually have like a couple of games that I've like started developing or come up with ideas for that I would love to get the licenses for and do if I can.
Yeah.
Jaws was one of them. I wouldn't develop a game just to be like, I want a game that I could just throw around, you know?
Right.
I try and develop stuff for the specific theme.
Stuff that you're kind of passionate about, stuff that you really like.
Yeah. So I have an idea for one of my favorite shows of all time that I'd love to do a board game for called Red Dwarf.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I love Red
Yeah,
Dwarf.
old
Me
school. I
too.
remember
Yeah.
watching on PBS way back in the day.
Yeah, well, and they're making new ones now.
Really?
But the
I didn't
same
know that.
cast. Yeah, and they're hilarious.
Is it
In
like
fact,
a BBC thing now?
Well, yeah,
Well,
it's
it always-
BBC4 Dave, like their
Okay.
satellite channel or whatever. I just, find them online and watch them. But,
Yeah.
I mean, still is hilarious. I respect the last season was like just so back to form of the original stuff. It was just beautiful.
That's one of the cool things about the internet age, and Kickstarter is a part of it, and people like these small communities of people getting the companies to bring back things that they used to love,
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're getting stuff like that, like Red Dwarf.
Yeah, well, and I'd love just the chance to because if I got the chance to do that license, I'd want to work with the creator to try and develop stuff. And the idea, since you say you're familiar with the show, like the idea basically is you're flying around, of course, space, trying to get back home, but like generally speaking, Dave's like trying to get back home.
Yeah.
Rimmer is trying to get a body so he can, be with a woman. Or actually, it's mainly just get a body. No, I'm sorry. See, it's been a while since I looked at my notes. Too.
Yeah,
I have some. Anyway, Rimmer's
Yeah,
actually trying to
200 games,
ascend.
200 games,
He's
so
trying to go up the ziggurat. Lickety split. He's trying to ascend into, get his officer status.
Yeah.
Cat is trying to get laid. And Crichton is just trying to keep the crew alive.
Yeah.
So whichever one you're playing is like that's your end
that's your
mission
role.
or
It's
whatever
like your
kind of thing.
motivation
Yeah.
too, yeah.
So, and then I have another idea for one that I'd love to do for Futurama. Like if I ever was able to get licensing for that, and I'd want to work with them, be a way to tell like news stories and stuff. I actually wanted to make that one a DVD board game where you have like a DVD you watch that has random stuff.
Yeah.
I have ideas for it. So shout out to the Red Dwarf team and to Futurama. If you guys want a board game, Dan Kriss is your guy.
God, I hope they listen. Have you ever tried to like adapt any of these for like mobile platforms or anything like that? Have you ever dabbled
Actually,
in that?
I started working with a development company about a year ago on Tavern Masters. I had a buddy of mine here a few years ago that was talking about working on it, but then he ended up getting married and having a kid, and so he got too busy, and that's just how it goes. So I started working with a development company, and they kind of strung me along for a year, just telling me stuff was get done, but never showing anything until eventually it just withered out. So I am trying to work on a Tavern Masters app right now.
Kind of like a Hearthstone type of thing.
Well,
Digital cards.
I mean, the idea initially was to have like a way to play the board game on your phone, like against an AI or with your friends, even if your friends are wherever. But also, I wanted to have like kind of a fun kind of meta game above that to where like. To where you're running a tavern every week, and so like every day you're getting random patrons coming in, and then you're like hiring stuff that you have access to.
So
for
it's
that
kind of like
week.
a management sim.
Yeah,
as
so
well
like,
as
it's kind of like you're taking your score or whatever, and then using that score to get a high score in a way, like a management kind of thing.
it's cool. I love those games. Those are my favorite games. Like Civilization and
Civilization's long been one of my favorites.
Just resource management.
resource
stuff like that.
management and just building cities and stuff like that. Those are the games that always get me. They got me with Roller Coaster Tycoon way back in the day.
Way back in the day.
Ever since then, I've been stuck on it.
Roller Coaster Tycoon's great.
I tell you, that genre got me with Sim Tower. Every now and then,
I never played that one. I played Sim Ant, played Sim City.
Every couple of years, I'll try to find it, and I'll be like, I want to play Sim Tower again.
Have you gone to GOG games on GOG.com? It's game over. I don't remember what it stands for, but
just old games.
Yeah, it's old games that you can still like download and like you can purchase the rights for.
I found 64-bit. My folks, we always had like the 2-year, 3-year-old computer. So like we had a computer whenever it was like 96, 97 or whatever, and we would always play MS-DOS games.
Oh yeah.
And I found a website where you can play like all these MS-DOS games like online.
Oh yeah.
Because they're not large at all, but it's like stunts, like stunts is where you can make like loops and stuff. You drive the car through it. Man.
Dude, I remember like the text-based games where you just had to get it just right. Where you have to type like
Wasteland
tear down the
Zork,
spider web.
stuff like that.
Exactly, like Zork.
Do y'all remember the old Sierra games? King's Quest, Quest for Glory is one of my favorite game series of all time.
Is that the text game?
Actually, it was one of the first click and point adventure games.
But it's like you got to go go down the road or go into the woods. Or
Yeah, and then you got to get this item to unlock this. So if you go up and get the ring from the bird's nest, you can give it back to the healer, who then gives you a potion you need to go and get the thing from the graveyard.
The original fetch quests.
But it was also one of the first ones that was kind of open ended too.
Yeah,
like it wasn't just linear where do this now you can only do this now. You can, it was like, well, if you do this over here, you can kind of do this if you want. You can do this if you want. You can just go do this for a while.
Yeah, because those old text-based games, if you didn't type exactly what I was looking for, you were screwed.
You're just along for the ride.
And then I think I saw a YouTube video where they were talking about like the craziest like things that developers had put into their games, where it's like there's no way you're gonna figure this out, unless you're just sitting there, just like you had to like hack into the code of the software to get
find
the
it
answer.
in the code.
But
but people do. People do, and bless them too.
They still do. Yeah, they still do.
But yeah, no, Quest for Glory actually was a text game originally and had the visuals too, but like it was all controlled by text. And then they went back and re-released it for the VGA or whatever or Super VGA with the mouse cursor. And
now you can control it with a mouse. I've been watching a bunch of YouTube videos about like old retro games and how they were made, and defunct TV, and like how like theme parks were started and failed.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
I watched the one on Jaws specifically because I never got to go on that ride. I always wanted to go on that ride.
Yeah.
Jaws is one of my 2 favorite movies, period.
Yeah.
That and Jurassic Park.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good too.
You got the deep
picks.
sea theme going, you know?
Yeah.
I guess.
You big fan of James Cameron?
I do like James Cameron. I actually watched that documentary where he went to the bottom of the ocean. And, I got to say, I mean, it's easy to think that some filmmaker like that's all just pretentious and stuff. But you know what? He is a real explorer. He's actually set records. So, props to him.
Yeah.
He's made amazing movies.
It's him and
he's the best
and,
sequel maker of
him
all
and
time.
Jacques Cousteau.
Aliens. We just saw Alien yesterday, and Sunday.
Aliens and Terminator 2. He made both. It's like he's the best sequel
They're
maker
actually
of all time.
airing Aliens at Tinseltown tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they aired it Sunday, and then it's tomorrow and the next day as well. That's we went Sunday.
Yeah. Did it look great?
It was awesome getting to see it on the big screen. We took our buddy Nathan and my son Victor, who's 10. He used to be worried about this. He was worried that Alien movies was gonna be scary when he was younger.
Yeah,
because he's always loved horror movies, even as a kid.
So Alien is a lot scarier than Aliens to me.
Well, the problem was he watched some of The Thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's terrifying.
Well, I mean, he got through it, but he was like, it just makes me, so I don't, but he loves zombies and stuff for some reason, just didn't like that. So we were like, well, we got Alien tickets if you want to go. And he's like, yeah, sure. So he got to see it on the big screen. He loved it. He can't wait to watch Aliens now.
Yeah, so much. It's a completely different experience.
Yeah, it's my wife's favorite movie.
Yeah.
Like, Alien is, like, the whole Alien franchise. I mean, I love it too, but it's like her favorite. So I got her, like, all the cool...
they have the whole comic book series behind it that ties in Predator.
Yeah, they have, they have Batman versus Alien.
They have like a
Batman
extended
Dead
universe.
End. Have you ever seen Batman? It's a short film. You can find it on YouTube now. It's called Batman Dead End. And someone did...
It's like a fan?
It's a fan-made film, but they did a good job. In fact, the Joker in there is probably one of the best Jokers I've ever seen. Except I did see Joker last night, and that was amazing. Yeah. But it's Batman versus Predator versus Aliens. I mean, it's just like a 6-minute thing.
Batman wins, though, right? I mean,
I don't know.
Has to.
You have to go on YouTube and check it out.
You're just going to have to sacrifice 6 minutes of your life.
He has a plan for everything. Well, let's take.
There's a bat spray for that.
Let's take a little break, and let's see if we can come back and play some of this board game.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Tim over at A to Z Movie Night. Don't forget that A to Z Podcast is funded in part by our patrons on Patreon. If you would like to support us, head on over to patreon.com/A to Z BMT.
All right, welcome to the break portion where we shell out for the City of Beaumont. December 4th at the Event Center, we're going to have the City of Beaumont's annual Xmas tree lighting.
You're going to do that? You're going to say Xmas instead of Christmas?
That's how I wrote it. I read it out. I wrote it.
I mean, there's a war on Christmas. You know what? Also, I'm really excited for this one, Zach, because since I don't have cable anymore and I'm not watching all this, corporate propaganda from like Folgers and Toys R Us on Christmas, I've really lost touch with the season.
Yeah, you don't know what season it is.
I really don't.
Especially if you never leave your house.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to go to this. I really want to see that Christmas tree light up.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
It's going to be great. I'm going to go.
Yeah, you can join us for the City of Beaumont Christmas tree lighting at the Downtown Event Center on Wednesday, December 4th. There will be live music. I have no idea who's playing. Probably a jazz band, which would be pretty dope.
It's going to be classy.
It's going to have food trucks. trucks, they'll have fireworks, and they'll have more. I guess they'll have vendors out there as well. The event's going to start at 5:30, and it's going to last till 7:30, I want to say. And if you want to find out more
It's
events,
totally free too.
yeah, it's totally free.
Event,
It's
a
it's out by the
event.
lake. It'll be nice. It'll be kind of chilly, but it'll be a nice celebration of the holiday season. But if you want more information on events that are coming up, just go to discoverbeaumont.com. There's a link below, and you can check out what's coming up later. A lot of cool stuff in the works with the city of Beaumont.
Yeah, but for right now, we're gonna get back to the episode into the second half of Dan Kriss Games, where we're gonna play some stuff.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that? What is that?
Overhaul the system, fix it,
Adapt.
devise a new system or something. But
Yeah.
we've come to a turning point where we realize things can be better than they need to be. Anyway, nothing.
So,
changed
but
for
it's
politics,
such the kowtowing
Yeah.
by all these different corporations to just like
That's
that,
what they call it out in South Park too.
that one guy with the NFL or whatever that said that tweet, and then they were like, well, we're not going to air NBA games anymore or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
just like, fuck.
Yeah.
You're like,
And
how-
then you have the
yeah.
people that, like, I think LeBron James or something came out and, like, in defense of the Chinese government. And then now, like, Hong Kong is like, well, screw you then. And then everyone else that's fighting for Hong Kong is like, well, screw you then.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a big mess.
But not Tavern Masters. This is a great game.
We about to do all this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Don
All
had
right,
headphones.
well, I
gentlemen.
will. I'm gonna put them on.
We're going to learn how to play a game today.
All right, guys, let's do it. This is a to Z, not first, because we played long time ago when we first started with Wes and with who else was it?
It was Wes and
JT and Wes, and we played Magic, and we kind of did like a Twitch stream with them. But this is kind of a first for a locally designed video, like a card game.
Card game. Tabletop game.
Tabletop. Yeah, tabletop's the overarching.
Yeah.
So let's do this sexy unboxing. Are unboxing videos still a thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're gaining in popularity. I mean, honestly, like I said, this really is a board game renaissance right now. We're coming into a golden age. You know?
Obviously, because if A to Z's doing it, then, they got their finger on the pulse over there.
Oh, my God.
Definitely.
Well, Dan, would you do the honors? Like, let's see what's in this box.
Sure.
Top on that bad boy.
All right. Got Tavern
Ooh, it's
Masters.
a tight fit,
So
too.
did you like prototype a bunch of
fits
different
are good.
boxes?
I just, I worked up the dimensions and I asked the manufacturer for suggestions and stuff, and then we just kind of went from there. I'm happy with how the box came out. Mostly, the only thing that I really have any kind of problems with is the plastic insert.
Yeah.
It wasn't really to the specifications I'd sent, but we didn't have a lot of time to workshop that. And before it was already made, and they said, "Hey, look, we're sorry that it wasn't like you were kind of thinking. We didn't have a chance to work it up."
great
So they
feeling
promised me that
box.
we're going to fix it in the second printing.
Okay. So this is a first edition one we got right here.
Yeah.
It feels great. It feels like, I don't know, stiff and glossy. And
I told them I wanted the highest quality production costs I could manage, like good sturdy quality cardboard.
Yeah.
Here's the tokens. You get the rule book here.
Okay.
And then these are the sheets of tokens.
We got to punch all those bad boys out, huh?
Yeah. The first sheet you'll find is the Tavern Masters, what I call the cheater cards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just kind of like,
it's like the
Oh,
rules.
one side has like the round phase just to kind of keep track of that. And on the back side has like all the symbols and stuff, the kind of glossary of symbols.
Yes, it's kind of like a
So those make it
I
easy
need
to
one
kind
of
of.
these.
So everything's like the model cars kind of thing. You pop them out of the
Yeah.
square. That's
out
kinda
of
cool.
the sprues, I believe they call them. Of course, these are cardboard sprues.
Sprue?
Yeah. Like whenever you
good
get like a plastic thing and it's
That's a
still like
$10
on
word.
the thing, it's called the sprue.
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 Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Learning something every day.
And then you have the coins. It's got more round tokens in here too, just to kind of keep track of the
We're gonna
rounds.
help you pop some of these.
Some people
Looks
like using
fun.
them. I tend to not, just because I just haven't in a long
Would
time.
you suggest we pop them all out?
Sure.
Is that satisfying?
It really is. Oh no, I just dropped one.
Here, go ahead.
God, this is like a game in itself. Like this is great. Like, this is like
Kind
the
of opposite Connect 4.
So
Yes.
are these different currencies, your small ones and your big ones?
You got the 1 gold pieces, which is the basic small ones, and then the dragon ones are 10 gold.
10 gold.
There's actually even backstory to that. Like, for instance, the king on the front of these is King Mygar III.
Yeah, you have a whole world, right?
This is a kingdom that we're in.
Yeah, this is the kingdom of Eldaron. This is set
A world of destiny.
around the time of like I think 1067 NA or Novum Aurorum, which is the current reckoning they're in.
That's a world of destiny game. So you have a kind of a shared universe there.
Yeah, and then it has the Eldarian logo of the kingship fuel. It's Praesus ut prosus ne ut imperies. It means lead to serve, never to rule. Which is the idea. Like the king,
Democracy.
like the kingdom of Eldaron is actually a joint kingdom of like the settlement, which has a lot of humans, but also elves and dwarves that live in the settled lands of like the cleared farming lands and stuff like that, and settlements all throughout. That's managed and maintained by the kingdom of Eldaron, by the king and his factions. But they're also aligned with the Elven nation and the Elven kingdom and the Dwarven nation. The Dwarven nation is Tharun, and the Elven kingdom is Vanathir, but they're all actually part of Eldaron.
So there's a lot of
Did you come up with this yourself?
Yeah,
there's a lot of world building involved in this.
tons. I have a wiki I've been putting it together on to kind of build it, so it's easy to like cross-reference information and stuff.
Do you write? Do you write like fantasy fiction or anything?
Well, I do create. I like writing. I just haven't actually sat down to write down any of the stories yet. But I have
you have pretty
ideas and story points and stuff.
Do you have like a giant map that you've
Yes.
plotted out with all the geography and cities and?
Well, I've got the giant map, and I've been adding the geography and cities as I can.
I'd love to do that, dude. I don't know why, but a couple of years ago, I got into a thing where I just like drawing maps.
That's awesome.
Like old cartography.
Yeah, maps are
It's
cool.
fun.
I always love maps. Every time you get like a fantasy book and it's got some map into the world, it's great.
Or like when you would get any Rockstar game back in the day, and it would give you the big huge map
hanging on your
and,
wall.
you're like, oh man, it just feels
goes good right next to your Slipknot poster.
It feels so tangible.
I've
you're
got
like,
my
I
Red
know this
Dead
place.
Redemption posters for sure by Rockstar.
Yeah, exactly.
As a matter of fact, I've even got some of my old Ultima cloth maps.
What?
That they used to give in the old Ultima games. Yeah, they were like cloth maps.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now you had to pay like $150 for the special deluxe edition to get that shit.
Now you got to pay for it, And Bethesda used to be good
they're
about
not
it too.
hard to make. I'd love to put a cloth map in something or other just for funsies at some point, just because.
Do like a deluxe version of Tavern Masters where everything is like this is like metal. It has
Actually, we have metal coins. I should have brought them. I didn't know we'd be playing or whatever.
No, it's fine.
But we totally made metal coins. As a matter of fact, the one around my neck is the dragon piece.
Oh wow, okay.
Kind of worn from me wearing it. My skin is
That's cool.
horrible to metal. But
so how long has this game been like? How long have you been working on this game?
Tavern Masters since I think about 2015, I want to say.
Okay, so this is like, and it came out a couple years ago?
Put it out end of 2017.
Okay.
So it's basically had its first year and a half run.
Yeah.
But again, like, we just haven't got a chance to do a lot of we haven't done a lot of marketing for it. I had someone.
Well, you are right now. So
we are now. Yeah, I've actually sent out a lot of copies. We're starting to get some more video reviews in and whatnot.
Yeah.
To help promote it more.
Well, whenever you told me about it, like I started Googling around and I found like there was a board game website that had like ratings and stuff, like
BGG?
IMDb. Yeah, I think so.
Board Game Geek.
Yeah, and then there was a couple of different reviews. There was at least like 3 or 4 reviews that I saw just like right off the bat, like of people doing like playthroughs and just like this it has a really nice box. And everything's it's like that whole thing, But I guess they're just people that all they do is review board games.
Right. Oh, there's tons of channels.
Whole community.
You gotta run out of
absolutely.
space, don't you? So what we got? We got a patron deck, and I'm reading the rules here, so it's at least the day phases.
I even include little baggies to put all the tokens in when you're done.
I like that.
So day phase, tavern card. I don't know. Do you want to go? You probably are better going through all the rules than we are. I'm bad at board games and following the rules, and like I always get like so confused about how it's supposed to go down. So,
okay. So generally speaking, the basic idea is that we're each running our own fantasy tavern in this fantasy world. We're actually in the village of Redstaff.
Are we all competitors?
We like there's a few different ways to play it. You can actually play it either normally, which is competitively, but it's not in the base game. There's no PvP. There's no mean stuff to do to other players. And trading is encouraged, if you want to trade. But basically, if you're just playing normal version, like normal head-to-head, it's a race to getting 20 gold. Actions are taken simultaneously.
Yeah.
And so whenever... like at the end of any round, if any player has 20 or more gold, the game ends and whoever has the most wins.
Okay.
So we each start with 3 gold. And then during the day phase, we're going to be drawing tavern cards to our hand. And then those are cards, those are going to be goods. Like, for instance, you have mutton. It's a food. You can tell from the little food symbol in the upper right corner. And the mutton's a special food. It lets you may play noble patrons. There's a type of patron here that's a gold board. They're called noble patrons. Patrons you normally
They're like
play
lords
by...
and ladies and such.
Yeah. And just people of, importance in the realm or whatever. Or people just with tons of money so they can afford titles or whatever. But the point being... normally, patrons, you play by what they want. So, like, if they want ale and you have ale in your tavern, that's how you can play them. Nobles don't have any wants. They're just nobles. So if you have something in your tavern, like the mutton or the stinky cheese
They might slide
or
it through.
Then you can play them just by having that thing in your tavern. And once you have something in your tavern, it's there. It's not like that per person you bring in or whatever. It's just like, it's kind of like now you have a contract to sell mutton. It's on your menu now.
So it's not like a supply.
So,
and it's not like a limited.
Right, it's not limited supply. It's just you have it. And there's also
service.
games like
It means I've talked to Ye Olden Cisco, and I have mutton. on non-menu.
Ye Olden Jake Mazoo delivers my Ye Olden green onions or whatever. And you have games like knife targets, chess boards, dart boards.
So we're building our tavern.
Yes, you're building your tavern. You hire staff too. You got like the
we got elven
serving
witches?
wench, the elven barmaid,
Man.
the dwarven bard.
I gotta get me a bard because I know that live
village
music
juggler.
brings the folks
Bless you.
in. I know that.
Yeah, it does.
And then like the village juggler, you have these different entertainers. So you hire entertainers and gnomish accountant, dwarven barkeep. So these are staff you can hire. And you purchase these to your tavern. You only have to pay for them, when you play them, and then they're done. So like the purchase cost is right here. You got this costs 2 gold. These cost 2 gold. It costs 1 gold to hire the card or to play the card table. Staff have hiring costs, not purchase cost, obviously. So, they have a hiring cost. Like this one is 2 gold. Or if you have any cheese, you can play it for free.
Oh.
So if you have a card in your tavern that has cheese in the name, you get to play that for free. Just like this one, higher cost 3 gold or have mutton. So staff can come work for you for free.
What is mutton? Is mutton goat or lamb?
It's lamb.
Actually, there's a expansion called the Full Moon expansion. I haven't finished printing yet or putting together yet, but it's got like werewolves, for instance. And so there's there's like shepherd's pie. But
Well, I don't know if you
have
brought it up,
mutton, the
but
werewolves
all
don't
of
attack.
these are the expansions for them. Like you get,
Yeah, those are a few of them.
or not all of them, but
those
you
are
have,
most of the ones that are in
Yeah.
print now. We also had the game of chance. I'll bring a copy for you guys. I just couldn't find it at the house. I gotta go over to
Do you just
storage.
have board games like all over your house, or card games? Or
I
just
did
like,
before we had started
just
packing up the
stacks and
house.
stacks.
Giant shelf.
Shelves.
So giant shelves.
Like my board games would probably take up from that corner of the wall to the door jamb to the ceiling, like from the floor ceiling.
Yeah.
God. And some of them are yours. That's so
A few of
great.
them are mine, yeah. And
How
then
do
I've got a
you-
big
that's
box
really
of
cool.
prototypes,
Whenever you're
too.
prototyping a game, do you just like draw on like note cards or something?
Well, what I used to do, I would make prototypes on my computer. I would just open. I used to use like MS Publisher.
Yeah.
So
So you have all of them laid out, and you could play them. You could actually play the game on the computer. Like
No, I would do the layouts and I'd print them on these little small like card stock or whatever.
Yeah.
And just cut them up. My wife does all the cutting for me. Poor thing. But
That's an important role. Shout out.
yeah. Well, when you're dealing with like a big board game, for instance,
Right.
and you got like stacks of cards, it's
yeah.
a lot to cut. So I'll be sitting there printing and editing and getting them together while she's cutting the ones that come out. It's fun. And then nowadays, though, if I've got like a general layout down and I have some artwork and stuff, not necessarily the final artwork, but just something put together to make it look good, I tend to go print my prototypes at thegamecrafter.com.
Okay, so they'll
'Cause they're
actually
cheap.
split it out for you too, right?
Well, yeah, they're cheap enough to where you can print you can print one copy. Now, it might be $25 for a card game that might actually just retail for 15,
Yeah.
if you're mass
Yeah,
printing.
but you're prototyping.
But it's a
that.
prototype,
prototype,
so it's actually not a bad investment for a prototype.
For what is that? Research and R&D.
Yeah,
R&D,
yeah.
It's
yeah.
R&D costs.
And you got to have something to shop around too, you know.
Yeah.
You can't just come to anybody with like index cards with little drawings on it
Yeah.
and stuff, you know. They feel big, but we're gonna get smaller cards. We need, deck-sized cards. Just ignore that.
Yeah.
Wait, do they
Just
all
put them
have-
all in sleeves.
Do
It'll
they
be
all
fine.
do they all have to be on legal paper right now? Come on.
Yeah, 11 by 17 only.
It's a nice finish.
That's our cards. They're ledger size.
Shove it in my deck.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got a patron deck right here too. So that's like
That's like building your tavern,
Right.
and then this is
Yeah.
serving your.
So during the day phase, we're each going to get 3 tavern cards,
okay.
and then we'll each just be, buying what we have with the money we have, and then that's the day phase. And then it moves on to the night phase where
I
we'll
have
get
3 coins.
3 patron cards, and then you'll be able to play them based on what you have in your tavern. At that point, you can't buy anything more to your tavern, but you keep them in your hand at least if you can't play them. Like, for instance, here's the farmer. He's a patron. He wants mead, so that means he's a mead patron. So if you have mead, any kind of mead, you can play him.
You can play
Man, that farmer
card.
liked to drink. I heard about him.
Yeah, and he has an ability. You count as having food in your tavern this round.
Oh, cool.
So, like
Yeah.
for instance, if you have something else that you could play if you had food,
You can if you play him, you can play the food.
yeah, while he's
because
in
he
your tavern.
brings food.
Yeah, because he's the farmer, so he's always got some extra food around
Yeah.
or whatever,
Trade potatoes for some mead.
Yeah, or you got the sorcerer here. They want wine, and if you play the sorcerer, you can play any one mage patron from your hand or the patron discard this round.
No matter what
Yeah.
their requirements are.
Right.
Okay.
So anything that lets you play something means that you ignore the requirements.
Okay.
So let's say, for instance, you have something that lets you play a soldier, and you have a noble in your hand that's a soldier, and you don't have something that lets you play a noble. You can still play that
Yeah, if you play that card
if you
first.
play the thing that lets you play the soldier because he's a
So it's
soldier.
like piggybacking. Yeah.
Right. The whole thing, the idea is combos. I mean,
Oh,
like
so
that's
you
always
lay
the
down one that allowed. Now, if you lay down one that is allowed by the other one and it has an allowance on it, you can lay down one that allows as well.
Yes.
Okay, so it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Right.
I
The
got
whole
it.
idea is like like when you make a magic deck,
Yeah.
and each of the
Right,
cards like
it's
has
combo,
possible
yeah.
combos with all the
Mhm.
other cards, and
Yeah.
then that's the idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what an engine builder is.
Okay.
The idea is like
that's pretty cool.
you're
I
building your
gotcha.
resources to allow you to play more things that then
Big old
allow you to play
combos.
more things. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what do
So-
you get in return for playing these patron cards? You get gold. I mean,
Well, other than some of them having abilities, which most of them have abilities, but each night after the night phase, we go to what's called counting the till. And so you get 1 gold for each patron. You get 2 gold for each noble patron.
okay.
Because they
And-
tip.
'cause,
Yeah.
they pay more.
Yeah.
They spend more while they're there. And in my noticing, it's not the nobles that tip in real life.
No,
So,
it's true. It's true. It's,
How do you think they stay nobles?
Right. But nevertheless, that's right. Tip your waiters. Anyway, so whenever you play the patrons, they give you 1 gold, and then they generally will go away to the discard. However, some patrons have what's called a like. Like, for instance, the scholar here, he likes entertainers.
Okay.
So if you have any entertainers in your tavern this round, he'll stay till the next round.
Oh.
So as long as you have an entertainer, he'll just hang
See,
out.
you're right. The music does bring the people.
yeah,
It does,
I'm telling you, man.
it does.
It brings the ladies, and they like to shaketh thy booty.
Shaketh thy booty they can. So,
How would they shaketh their booty unless there's a bard around?
a bard of wonders.
And when they shaketh thy buttocks, all the men come a flocking. I don't know what I'm
Droppeth
talking about.
thine funky beat, verily.
I think this is the nerdiest episode we've done.
I hope
This is the
so.
nerdiest episode
hope
that
so.
we've done.
Well, I try.
No apologies. But
Yeah.
So I don't know how well this is shuffled. I've just tried to kind of generally shuffle.
Oh,
it.
that's cool.
But that's the gist of the game. Now,
Okay.
there is one difference at the very beginning of the game. Since everyone likes things being on draft, we're going to draft at the beginning of the game, which means we're each going to get 4 tavern cards.
Okay.
And then we're going to take a look at the 4 we got in our hand, or we're holding, put 1 in our hand and pass 3. And then take the ones that are past us, pick 1 to our hand and pass 2. until we all have
Do we do that,
past
like,
the
in
last
order?
card. Well, I mean, just like
okay.
I'm going to pass it. I'll start as
Okay,
the
go
server.
ahead. All right.
At the end of each round, the server goes to the next player.
Yeah.
And the only reason that's and then they deal the cards. The only reason that's important is because some cards have you pull from a discard.
Yeah.
And so, like, if I get to pull a mage from a discard and you get to pull a mage from a discard, well, how do we know who gets that one mage that's in the discard?
Okay.
Well, it starts the player to the left of the server picks first, and then it just goes around the table.
Okay.
So, like, basically, it's like, oh, do you have anything to pick this round from the discard? No. Okay. Well, I need to pick a soldier this round. So, because he's the server, so you're picking.
Wait, you have
first.
to have how many cards in your hand at the start of every turn?
You don't have to have any number per se. You actually have a hand limit. At the base game, you have a hand limit of 5.
Okay.
So at the end of the round, you can have as many cards in your hand during the round as you get, but at the end of the round, you discard down to 5 from your hand, and then you discard any patrons from your tavern that don't stay for whatever reason.
Okay.
So
You'll have to explain that more because like I said, I get lost at the rules. Okay.
Oh yeah, sure, for sure, and we'll walk through it. It's actually got a really easy learning curve because in the end, once you're playing it, once you kind of get the feel for it, it's a real easy game to play, which is what I like about it. I meant this to be
that's a good quality.
gateway
Like
game.
a good quick,
good
good quick game.
This game is meant for people that are just like kind of casual gamers and not a lot into gaming to be able to play with their gaming friends who like games.
Yeah.
And then kind of get them to see more of it. Like, for instance, I've had tons of people who told me, my spouse never plays games with me. I'm always going to play solo games.
Unless we're playing Munchkin.
But then they talked their spouse or significant other into playing this with them. And they fell in love with it too, because even people that aren't like hardcore gamers still see it as kind of a puzzle. Like, oh, well, if I can get this, then I can get more gold.
Yeah.
So that it's like a problem solving.
You can take it a lot more seriously, but otherwise it's just fun.
Yeah, and also, even when you lose, it doesn't take long to play, which is always nice.
Yeah, it says on the side of the box. It says 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah, 20 to 35 minutes is an
35 minutes?
average,
Yeah.
especially once you've started playing it more.
Yeah,
like
once you have the gist of it.
But of course, you add some expansions, it'll take a little bit longer, but it still goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I did design one of the next ones we're going to be putting out at some point called Innkeeper. That's the first mega expansion. That adds a lot extra stuff to it.
So you're not just have a tavern, you have an inn, you have beds.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, because
You got rooms at the bar. It's upstairs.
there's what's currently being called the construction decks. You can add like rooms or a kitchen or an herb garden, stuff like that, and they give you different bonuses.
Sounds right up my alley.
And then there's also a traveler deck, which work like patrons, only you can just play travelers, but they always go away at the end of the round.
Yeah.
But they don't always pay you a gold. They just have desires. Like
This
they
is
might
like the difference
desire-
between your randoms and your regulars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so like they have two, like you might desire ale and mead. So if you have any ale, you get 1 gold for that. And if you have any mead, you get 1 gold for that, And they go, but they also have like a lot of, like each traveler has 2 different NPC types. And then there's heroes in that deck that have 3 NPC types and 3 desires. And the reason that's important is because there's also the quest deck that comes out there too, where you start sending your patrons on quests. They don't leave your tavern, but basically as long as you have the agents you need in your tavern to complete the quest, it's completed, and then you get a treasure from the treasure deck and you get a king's favor. That makes the game go a lot longer because in the end, the game doesn't end until a player has 5 or more king's favor. And so usually end up with like 100 or more gold by the end of each player,
Yeah.
And gold becomes a much bigger thing too. There's a lot more getting gold in that, but that's one of the things we're working up to.
Okay,
I mean, we have it prototyped. It's working great. So now it's just a matter of getting the art,
Yeah. Let's play around.
Yeah, sure.
Let's do this thing.
So, okay. So we each start with 3 gold. So
I got my 3 right here.
Awesome. Now
I got
we're
my
gonna
3.
Start with I'm give it another quick shuffle. Just
Freaking balling out. I went to the Economic Development Corporation and I said, "Yo, I got an idea.
The Middle Earth. What's the
I need
universe
3
called?
gold."
World of Destiny.
The world.
Yeah.
I said EDC.
They some
in the World
thirsty
of Destiny.
people.
I need 3 gold to start my tavern.
That's a good economy, man. 3 gold to start a tavern. I mean,
Yeah.
Hey, it is gold. It's
is
on a
gold,
gold
yeah.
standard.
There's your
it's not
cards.
based on hopes and dreams like our currency.
There you go. So we're going to draft these, but this is the only time in the game that you actually draft. So now you'll want to make sure to have at least 1 drink of, of some kind, preferably a mead, ale, or wine,
so
because those are the standards that a lot of them are going to want.
I have to ditch 3 of these.
Right.
Okay.
But you'll end up having one come back around to you at some point, depending on which ones we pick, because there's only 3 of us and 4 cards.
Do we care if we show what's on the table?
I don't
We're
really
not playing
care
against each other.
I mean, we are technically playing against each other.
Yeah.
And we can trade too. But I mean, since it's your first time,
Yeah.
we don't have to be all competitive about it. We can just,
I'll lay it out there.
Now, of course, if you buy it, then yeah, it does go out in the play area.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
So I got.
We're not buying yet anyway. I'm sorry. We're still in the middle of the draft.
We're just drafting our stuff.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep the rock bottom ale, pass the needle on.
Rock bottom ale.
Yeah, and the flavor text is one of my favorite parts because I
wait. So you pass it to me. So do I need to discard this, or can I look at yours as well?
No, the ones I passed to you, you're going to take the one you kept, then you're going to pick one of those I passed you to keep as well.
Oh, okay.
And then
So do I need to keep? So I need to keep mine.
You need to keep one of yours.
And
pass the other 3.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. And so then he passed me these 3. I'm going to pick one. I think I'm going to go for the
I'm gonna have that serving winch.
stinky cheese.
Herb cheese.
Now, and of course, normally, again, like in normal play, you don't actually show what you're keeping. But
Sure.
when we're friends here, we just have it just fun.
Luscious
Learn the game.
tart.
Just
Yeah.
having fun.
Yeah, that is one thing people do find when they go on BGG. There was a big discussion for a minute there when it came out. People that were accusing the game of just being sexist and selling sex. And I really didn't see it that way. That wasn't my intention. I have a lot of females, girls and women, and who have played this and love it. And they thought like the wench, like the symbol being wench, for instance, wasn't a thing. I mean, it
just seems like fun to me.
It's part of the theme.
And
it's
this is medieval. I mean,
right.
it's
and the luscious tart's what got the most trouble, like because of her and her on the
seems
cover.
like such a negative term.
Well, I mean, to be fair, she's someone that keeps them till the next day. For a reason, But I mean, I'm not trying to make it lewd. It's also for the mechanic purpose too, but it's also for the theme. I mean, I'm not I'm not about to start, ragging on people for their profession.
This is
people
a tavern.
do what they do. Period.
This is a middle-aged, fantastic tavern. There were winches.
Yeah, I mean, this is how. I mean, it's all throughout history. It's not. But again, nothing in this is meant to degrade or be derogatory towards anyone.
Yeah,
it's never my
I think if somebody wants to see that, they go out of their way to see it. So I wouldn't.
They can
be
go
worried
get the
about
feminist board game.
Well, and all they saw was they saw the picture of the luscious tart. They saw the picture of the cover of the board.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got other characters in here that are
look
females
at my
and
guy.
perfectly
My guy's
normally
a dwarven
dressed.
bard, and
he's a hunk.
He's got his shirt off and he's playing a sick axe, and nobody's talking about him.
Right. Well, everyone picks their battles too.
I guess so.
Okay, so we got our
There's the
4 down.
I got this. Okay.
All right, cool.
So this is our tavern.
Well, this is your hand.
Okay.
So now you choose what you're going to actually play to your tavern by
What I'm
buying
gonna
it.
buy. Huh?
So now we're in our first day phase.
Okay.
So I am going to now, like I said, if you didn't, I think everyone did, but if you didn't get a drink that costs 2 or less gold, you can mulligan. But again, just make sure you want to play at least like 1 mead, wine, or ale if you can.
Right.
Okay.
Because those are the base thing. Like for instance, I'm actually going to play the rock bottom ale for 1 gold and the dwarven mead for 2 gold.
So you spent
and then
3.
these stay in your hand.
Yeah.
The ones you don't play stay in your hand. In the end, your hand will be a mix of tavern and patron cards. And of course, as the game, like other expansions are added, those go to your hand too. And then each expansion just adds a little bit extra to your hand limit. So hand management's actually kind of part of the game.
Yeah. So.
And everyone plays at the same time.
Okay.
Simultaneous. So
Someone could
just
join
whatever you
me
want to.
and that serving winch for my 3 gold.
Boom.
There you go.
And what do I do with the gold?
cheese?
I just put it in the center, someplace accessible, so you can get it whenever it's time to count the till.
Got my 3.
So if everyone's got their stuff down, I'll deal out the first round of patrons. Now again, we just drafted for the first opening tavern, like the first opening day phase, so we don't draft these. The idea was just that, whenever you're setting up a business, you want to have some agency over, like what you want to start as.
Yeah.
And then those decisions will then, of course, affect, the luck that you get when you draw. And don't be discouraged if you don't get anything you can play, although it's very unlikely, especially with no expansions.
Yeah.
But, I got Dwarven Miner, so I can play him. But then again, I might actually hold off on the Dwarven Miner because he has a like for entertainers. So if I had an entertainer,
If you had like a bard, or
like I
something,
might
yeah.
want to save him until I had the bard
Yeah.
out.
That way
But
it
I
could be for
don't,
free
so-
for you, right?
Well,
Right.
it wouldn't be that it was free, but it means he would stay. Because right now I don't have any entertainers, so he's not going to stay at the end of the round.
Okay.
And he actually
that's
pays
what
me
the-
extra gold if I have Dwarven Mead. So I'm going to hold on.
So when he
onto
says
him.
likes and it has like a picture of a liar there, right? Like that just means entertainer.
Right.
Oh yeah,
yes.
it's on our
on
little
your
our little
glossary.
card here. Yeah, entertainer.
But see, if I don't play the Dwarven Miner, I can't
Food,
play my
game,
Scholar.
drink. Okay.
And I can't play the Noble yet. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Dwarven Miner, and I'll get my gold for this turn. I'm going to lose him. That'll
Okay.
suck. But it's, that's part
But
of
you got to get your gold every round, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
gotta get our
it certainly
patrons in
helps.
here, yeah.
Because if you don't get more gold right now, then what do you have to spend on next
Yeah.
round,
So when our patrons like a certain thing, that means they're going to pay you for that, right?
Well, no, whenever they want a thing, like the
Yeah.
Dwarven Miner wants mead.
That means you have
And
to
I
have
have
mead to play him.
Right. So since I have mead, I can
but he
play.
likes entertainment though.
He likes entertainers. That would keep him at the end of the round.
Oh,
but I
so
don't
if you
have any
But
entertainers.
if you have what he likes, he'll stay.
Right.
Okay.
right.
All right. Now I understand. Very cool.
Okay, so I have a farmer who wants mead, and if I play him, I count as having food. So if I play him and then I play the peasant that likes food and she wants any drink,
Yes. So she'll stay at the end of this round.
Look at this boy
He'll
combo.
go away.
Okay.
Yeah. Look at this
But
boy
she'll
combo.
stay at the end of this round.
And what
now,
about-
if you manage to play a food next round, she'll keep staying.
so what if? And then can I play all of them? Because then I have Body Prince who likes mead and the heart, and I have both of them.
Right, but he's a noble, so you can only play him if you have something that lets you play nobles.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
The likes aren't what you play them with. The likes are what you keep them in your tavern with.
I see.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So the peasant will stay, and the farmer
We'll go.
will go.
Okay. I'm gonna play the peasant. I'm gonna play the thief here.
Cool.
Um,
And you got food, so your peasant will stay.
yeah, my peasant will stay. I don't have game yet, but yeah, I think I can keep a patron too, right? Like for later.
Yes, you can
Yeah,
choose
yeah.
not to play it right now if you don't want to.
Yeah. Okay.
But
cool.
again, like you might want the gold now, but you might think it's better to get the gold in a round.
And then
or
how do
two.
we know how much gold they give us? So it's usually just one,
They're
or
just gonna give you one
Each
unless
one.
they have an ability.
unless they're a noble,
Okay.
right?
Well, like for instance, my Dwarven Miner,
yeah.
like he's going to give me an additional gold if I have any Dwarven Mead in my tavern, which I
okay,
do.
I got you. I got you.
And my Dwarven Mead's going to give me 1 gold each round if I have any mead patrons, which this round I do because he's a mead
Very
patron.
cool.
Okay.
Okay.
So-
And then just regular patrons give you 1 gold, and then you said nobles
And
give
nobles
you
give
2.
you 2, right?
Cool.
Plus any gold you get from there or other abilities.
Okay.
Awesome.
So this round is so we're done with this round. What do we do now?
So now we go to counting the till, and so we just basically get gold. Like I'm going to get 1 gold because I have a mead patron, and then I'm going to get 1 gold from him because he's a patron, and then 1 gold because I have Dwarven Mead.
Okay.
So it was a lucky pull. But,
Yeah, yeah.
And then he just goes away to the patron discard.
Okay.
And I've got my 3 gold.
I think I
you'll
just get 2.
You'll get 2
I
gold.
think I get
Let's
2.
get my
And you'll
2.
also get 2 gold. You have a mead patron, so you'll get an additional gold because you have a mead patron.
Because
Okay.
he wants mead.
Because he wants mead.
What about the one
Yeah.
that wants any drink?
No, she just counts as an any drink
So
patron.
if you get it
Yeah.
specifically right, then you get
Right.
an extra. Okay.
Yeah, and in the base game, there's nothing that refers to any drink patrons, but there is actually a few cards out there that you get bonuses if you have any drink
And
patrons.
then both of these are going to go.
Well, she won't
No.
because you had food this round.
My thief is going to go
Ah.
because he likes games, and I have no games.
And then you
Right.
discard both that you had in your hand, or you
No,
keep this?
your hand you keep.
Okay.
You just discard the
The one
patrons.
that left.
Right. Yeah.
Those folks in my hand anyway.
And so now that's the end of the round. No one has 20 gold, obviously. So now this round, you're the server. I
I'm
don't
the
mind
server.
dealing
Okay.
unless you want to.
I mean, I'll go ahead. I'll do it.
Sure.
Let's see. So,
So
how
we
much
each
do
get
I?
3 cards.
We each get 3.
Now, does anyone have the
Does
Elven
it go me
Barmaid?
and then to my left? Is that how it goes?
Usually I start with to the player to the left of the server.
okay.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, just as long as,
There you go, sir.
Thank you.
There you are.
Thank you, sir. So now it's back to the day phase of the new round. So we take a look and see what we can play.
So these go into our the rest of our cards.
Right.
Okay. So what do I want to get today? What do I need? I need some of that food. So I'm gonna get me some food. And
So I'm gonna.
I'm going to
going
pay
to-
3 to play Aged Brandy.
Oh wow, That sounds like a fancy drink.
It lets me play noble patrons, and I get a gold each round if I have any noble patrons in my tavern.
Fantastic! So you're playing the short. So I'm playing this dwarven bard for a gold there.
And I'm only really doing it because I know that I have the underworld boss in my hand, which is a noble.
Right.
So that'll give me a.
So now I can also hire the serving wench because she likes rocking out with the dwarven bard.
Yep.
Do.
I'm gonna get mutton and apple wine.
And don't forget, we can trade too. Like for instance,
Yeah.
I have a honey mead for trade if anyone needs a honey
I
mead.
can also play the village juggler because I do have ale.
Yes.
Or have ale. I guess that's all I can do.
Now, do you need mead? Because
I do need mead,
I
actually.
could trade you mead for the juggler if you like, because you have one entertainer, so there's not really any benefit
Yeah,
right
need
now.
two.
I'll take that trade.
But that's
absolutely.
entirely up to you.
I'll take that trade. So
Okay.
I've got to purchase still though.
Right.
So I'll use my last coin on that.
But basically we'd have traded before you put him out. But I
Okay.
also have ale, so I can also.
Oh,
put him out.
fantastic! Yeah. I'd make that trade any day because now
That's one
I
of
can
the
I can play this patron because I got me now.
nice. There you go.
It works for me
And you get to keep her because you got entertainers.
because I got an entertainer.
So I can't play a noble patron until I have somebody that enables noble.
Yes.
Look,
uh,
you have
look.
mutton.
Oh, so I can play the
oh
body
yeah,
prince
you have,
now.
You have
right.
mutton.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
That's actually Phil Tolan.
What is it?
The body prince.
that's
It's
the
actually
guy?
Phil Tolan. I
Oh,
don't know if you know him or not.
I do. Yeah.
So,
Look at him.
and then my friend Eric Riley's in here too.
Oh, really?
No, he's actually not in the base game. He's in the Dockside expansion. He's the first mate.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so we just
I
re-upped,
wanna be on- I wanna
bought
be on
some
a
things.
card.
So
I'm
that
sure we can arrange that.
this has been a day round. So I couldn't.
So
I can't play these until the night phase.
Well,
right,
that's-
but
well,
we're
we're-
actually coming to the night
we
phase.
are.
I mean,
About
if
to count
everyone's
our
done.
till.
So now, actually, did you deal out patrons yet?
Oh wait,
Oh, you had
No,
to deal
that's
with
right,
three,
that's
three
right.
of each.
that's right.
Yeah.
So three of each.
Three of each?
Three of each.
Okay.
Unless you have something that gives you more. Like, for instance, the Elven Barmaid lets you get an extra patron. The Herald gives you 2 extra patrons.
Oh wow, I'm trying to get that Herald.
Yeah, it's a good card. Some might say a little OP. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't think
That's
so.
probably not, bro. It depends on its rarity.
See, a lot of like some people that are more into Euro games knock
Yeah.
this game because they say, "Well, there's a luck element," but I made it that way on purpose.
Yeah.
Because with just a straight strategy game, if you got a strategy, you're gonna win. I like having that luck.
if it's a bar,
But
right?
all- yeah, you
if
can't-
it's a tavern,
Yeah,
and it's in the village, I mean, mechanically speaking, you have to rely on the luck. Like you're gonna get,
you get it.
yeah,
See?
yeah,
Exactly.
You never know who's gonna walk through the doors of your tavern.
Yeah, you get some agency over what you put in your tavern based on what's available in the market.
Yeah.
And then the tavern, like the patrons that come in, you don't know who's coming in through your doors. And there's ways you can mitigate it by like advertising, like the Herald, or by having people like the
Right.
Elven Barmaid that do good at their job, or whatever. So, but some people just like to complain about anything.
Yeah, that's true.
We're gonna play the Apprentice Mage. She likes entertainers, so that's nice.
I have one of those too.
Oh, and actually had a
So if they like something, they'll
wandering
stay.
minstrel. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's wandering, so he'll never stay, right?
Yeah, he doesn't actually stay. He just
Yeah.
he
I
doesn't have
don't
any
have-
likes.
He wants an entertainer. Damn it. And then I'll play these 2 guys.
And then the scholar who also likes entertainers. And if something, by the way, if something likes something and something, like for instance likes mead and wenches, you only have to have one or the other to keep
Okay.
them. It just
Yeah,
means
yeah.
they like both.
Right.
So
You don't get a bonus for them.
So
for
if he
having
likes
both,
if
right?
he likes that in both, then he's staying every round too.
right. And some
Awesome.
people say I should have said likes something or something, but it's like, but they like them both. It's just that you don't need both to do it.
I'm stacking up, dude. Look, I know how to keep the people in my tavern. All
Hey
right?
man, look, I got nobles and I got peasants. I got the most diverse crowd at my tavern.
That's true. That's
Indeed.
true. But I'm going for the mass game right here.
Actually, the captain of the guard, that's Scott from Comics Kingdom.
Dang, that's
buddy of mine.
hilarious. I love that.
Yeah, I actually
So
ran
awesome.
into someone in Houston at one of the conventions who was from the area years
Yeah.
ago. I mean, I literally used to play Magic with him back in like 95 in the
Okay.
back room over at the old book stand, like up here. And I was like, hey, I recognize you. And we talked for a minute. And we were talking about Scott. I said, hey, Scott's actually in my game. He said, what? So I like pulled it out and showed him. He's like, holy crap, I got to tell everybody I know.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
It's just funny,
Yeah.
Okay, so we're counting the till now.
Yes.
Yeah, counting till.
So you get 1 gold per patron, 2 per noble, plus any bonuses. Like, do you have any mead patrons this round? No mead patrons this round.
This one likes me but doesn't want it.
Right, so it's not technically a mead patron.
So 2
Sorry,
per noble and then 1 each for my peasant.
yes.
Wait, I have a.
Oh, but also, is that one that lets you pull from?
You may
No,
play.
that's just from your hand.
Okay,
that
yeah.
lets you play all the soldiers from your hand, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Okay, so I have a dwarven miner. I would gain an additional gold, but I don't have dwarven mead, so
Right.
that's null and void. He is a mead patron though, and then the apprentice mage is a mead patron. I don't know if that makes any difference.
No, like for instance, the only reason the mead patron came up is because
Oh, you have
dwarven
the
mead
dwarven
is
mead.
if you
Yeah.
have this,
Oh, I
it gives
see,
you
I
an extra
see.
gold if you have any mead patrons.
Oh, I see. So I get 1, 2.
Do I have to
3,
get rid of
4,
this
5.
guy after I count the till? Because he's not going to stick around.
Right, he likes King's Ale. If you had King's Ale, like actually, I got lucky. You got the underworld boss who likes dwarven mead, so he's gonna stay. But
So
yeah,
I can discard that guy.
so if like I'm just gonna show it because my
Yeah.
wife loves doing it, but a lot of people have picked it up as like it's just a good way to kind of see where make sure they're getting all their gold.
Oh, I got you. That is a good.
Like
thing.
he gives me an extra gold if I have any brandy, which I have the aged brandy. So, and then that way it's just kind of easy to see where your gold's coming from too, and like, make sure you got all
Make
the gold
sure
you're
we
supposed
know
to
that
get.
there's no tomfoolery going on in this game.
Yeah,
So I guess I'm server now.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass the server over. So I got my
And-
5. My wandering minstrel is gonna leave.
yeah. My wandering
Because
minstrel's gonna wander
I
off too.
have nothing he could stay for. And everybody else, I have something they like.
And then I pass to this guy or this. Yeah, there we go. 3 of each.
Yeah. Well, at three of the tavern first.
Okay.
Like you don't get your patrons yet because
okay.
again you can't really determine who's going to come in. Now of course that's actually one of the fun things too about the variant play cards from the tavern menu. Is there's things that mix and match, mix it up in there too. Like in fact, there's like some cards that have you drafting every round, like both tavern and patrons, and there's other stuff too. So
Okay, so I need some entertainment. Is the knife target the same as like an entertainer?
no, the knife
game.
target's a game.
So
It's a
game's
game.
different from entertainer.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need that knife target. So I'm gonna buy
Pay
that.
a gold to play the card table.
2.
I'm gonna pay 2 golds for some mutton because I need to get me some nobles up in this hoe.
I have can I discard from this deck? From my own?
From your hand?
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the round, you'll discard down to 5 cards.
Okay, so you
that'll
just
be
get down to 5 no
Yeah.
matter what. Okay.
And then you can just kind of choose like, oh, do I want it to be more patrons or more tavern, depending on what's in your hand.
I'm gonna get me a luscious card as well. It seems like a good move.
Very useful.
And I'll take.
Well, and it's free too. So I
3.
mean, because you have mutton, right?
Oh, so I don't need to. Okay.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And she'll keep a patron in your tavern each round.
Okay.
Play a game.
So
Cost
I'm done.
2.
I'm done with my taverns. My tavern cards. So now
So now patrons.
patrons. So that's your 3. And then there's your 3. And there's mine. So who I got? Oh, I got a mercenary.
So archmage,
Can't have the how
peasant,
many brandy. Damn it.
another wandering minstrel.
Pit fighter. He likes that wine. I got that. So I'm gonna take that dude.
Well, this is no good. Someone's got to draw the village potter. I mean, we got to have. If he doesn't come out, we'll pull him out after the game.
You may play so the master brewer.
Yeah.
You may play any one
Drink? What?
with a purchase card or less.
Of two or less, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
yeah,
You
so
may
That means
play
like
the
if you
card?
have if you have a regular drink in your hand that costs 2 or less, you can play it for you can play
Oh,
one
okay.
drink for free
Okay.
that costs 2 or less gold.
So I can put it on my
Yeah,
table.
you can just play it for free to your tavern, right?
Okay.
But what is he like? What's he gonna stay for?
He doesn't have a like.
Oh,
Some,
he just
some
comes
just
in.
don't.
He's
In
a-
fact,
okay.
the ones that usually have the more useful abilities tend
Yeah.
to not have likes. But
Okay, I
he
understand.
can actually keep that around with the luscious dart.
I still
So he
haven't-
could be putting
yeah.
out a free drink every round.
Oh wow.
So what does the free drink get you? So I can have another drink on my menu.
Yeah, well, you could just play a card for like a drink card from your hand for free each round, like or
Instead
the,
of it costing because it has a
Oh,
right
monetary
instead of
value.
costing
Yeah.
the
I
pay
see.
cost.
Well, I definitely want to keep that guy around with my tart.
Of course, well, you got wine and mead, so I guess all you really need now is ale, huh?
I need some ale. I need some of that king stuff, and maybe some dragon's breath.
Well, don't you have ale? are you just holding off on?
Oh, I am holding off on it, aren't I? Yeah, I guess I'll have to lay that down next time.
Well, I mean, like if you wanted to, you could always just go back and say you forgot you had it. I mean, we're not. I'm not a stickler for
Okay,
especially when learning a game.
So now now we're back to
Count that teal, boy.
Count that
Back to
till.
counting the till.
Okay, so let me see. I got 1 for each of my peasants. I got 2 for my Mr. Body Prince. So he likes Heart and Dragon's Breath. I just need 1 to keep him.
Right.
Okay, so I definitely have my pit fighter staying around. And I get 1 for him, and then I get 1 for
This mercenary right here,
my mercenary.
is that a sword right here? Is it the same thing? Gain 1 gold each round if you have.
No, it would have a sword up in the upper
up in the
left corner.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. So it's just
Like the captain of the guard did, for
it's
instance.
just a goofy old.
That.
It's just a goofy old
I think
mercenary.
Yeah, just a mercenary.
I think I spent all those. So
I mean, obviously, like I could have done stuff like that too, but it's all about balancing mechanics
Right.
too. So,
Absolutely, yeah. You have to like balance like getting to 20 quick enough and then long enough, right?
Yeah.
You have to make sure it's at that sweet spot.
So I'm going to play. Wait, do we get
Dang, you
tavern
got
cards?
a giant stack of coins over there already.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
doing. I got a lucky draw
He
too. They're
built- he
getting
built
like
the game.
Yeah.
just good. No, it's not even as much like luck as strategy. In fact, I frequently don't win my own games.
Yeah.
It's sad.
All
But
right, I got my
We're
golds.
building stage again.
well, first we got to counter.
We gotta
till.
counter- till.
Okay, so I got
So-
1, 2, 3.
Come on, I got a little bit. I got a little bit of gold. I mean, I can't like.
I
buy-
have exactly 20.
Oh
I'm sorry.
no, it's all good.
I
No,
was
it's all
hoping
good.
I'd have like 1 less and we'd have another round, but no.
So you just won.
Yeah, technically. I mean, well, because
Yeah.
I have the most in the end. Like the game ends when someone has 20, but whoever has the
Yeah,
most gold wins.
but there's like
So, I
Shit,
just
I
look
was just
up.
getting started.
there's a PvP, but there's
But that's the nice
yeah.
thing is you can always play again and then boom, new tavern. and,
okay. No, that's really fun.
But
And then-
that's
and then-
also why I made innkeepers.
and there's the expansion
Well,
packs.
you got to
right?
pull out the Potter. I want to see the guy.
oh yeah, we got to
Let's
pull
see
up.
how
Got to
Byron-
pull up Byron.
That's so cool. Man, this is a really fun game.
Thank you.
I like this game. Yeah, dude.
It's one of our favorites too. Not just because I made it, but we just play it. We love playing it.
Well,
Did-
it's a good short little runtime. You know what I mean? And
And even if you don't win, you really felt like you were building
Yeah.
a tavern.
it's,
Yeah,
it's
like,
fun.
you
It's,
know.
it's
Like,
very
I
anticipatory.
was building
you know?
my Middle Earth thirsties right now, and
Yeah.
and now it's like I just got shut down by the what is that? What the ATF?
The man. Look at that dude.
TSA. Oh wow!
Look at that dude. That's my boy right there.
Yeah.
Look at him.
I
Of
miss
course,
him.
of course, he wants any drink.
Yeah.
Village Potter.
That's it.
R.I.P. Man.
That's cool. Draw one additional tavern card. That's a really cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing. Yeah.
I wanted him to have a cool ability too.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
oh,
like
hey,
that.
you get a free tavern card.
Yeah.
Did you read any of the flavor text? That's like some of my favorite part.
It's
like
the flavor
working
text,
up the
yeah.
jokes,
What is
like
it?
mutton, not for the sheepish. Dwarven bard skilled at forging the heaviest of metals.
Feeding a peasant.
Hell yeah.
grueling
No,
work.
I like the art style. I loved how the Dwarven bard that caught me where he had like a literal axe. That's yeah.
Yeah, that's also a guitar. Yeah.
I
Rock
like
bottom
that
ale,
too.
you know when you've hit it.
See, Rock Bottom Ale, like I didn't even want to keep it because I was like, man, I don't know, is this just gonna draw like an unsavory crowd to my tavern? I was like, it's Rock Bottom Ale. I don't, I don't know.
Well, and like there's definitely like like for instance, a lot of mages you'll see tend to prefer more wine, but it's not a standard.
Yeah.
I try
Yeah.
and keep it mixed. I didn't want it to be like, oh, these guys always like this. And
You
this
didn't want
guy's
to
always
like
this.
always keep one and throw every other drink away.
Yeah.
You have
Right.
to keep it balanced. Yeah, I understand that for sure.
Dude, this is really fun. This is I've had so much fun talking about games.
Oh,
It's like and playing it.
I love playing games. I mean,
Yeah.
I do
I
too.
loved it so much I made it my job. Now if I can just get it to pay, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, is there any? So you got this game, and you can find it where? You can find it pretty much.
You
Yeah,
can
tell us where
buy
to
it
get
at any like Bookstand has it.
Yeah.
And Comics Kingdom has it. You can buy it online.
So you can buy it
It's-
locally if you want.
It's at distributors all over the place. You can buy it on our website as well.
Is it on Amazon or anything like that?
I don't know if our distributor puts it on Amazon or not. I forgot to look.
But it could. That's
okay.
Yeah.
But
So
I
just
mean,
Google it.
we are internationally distributed.
Tavern Masters
so.
Yeah.
board game. Google it. You can.
Tavernmasters.com will pull up the main Tavern Masters site, or you can go to dankrissgames.com. That's Dan with 2 N's, Chris with KRISS games.com. And then that will take you to the whole thing, you know, about all our different games and, you know, eventually,
and
you
you plan on being at the Beaumont Comic Con too, right?
Yes, we have a big triple booth.
Pretty sure we'll have this out by then.
Yeah, we're gonna be out there, you know, selling our products and running games and stuff. So we've got lots of fun accessories and stuff. I love, like, I try to see DKG as a lifestyle brand.
Yeah,
you know, stuff that you can just have fun with. Like, for instance, Tavern Masters.
You get the marketing experience right there.
Yeah. Well, I'm a collector. I'm a nerd, so of course I love the things I like on everything around me. You know, we made a six different shot glasses, a base set of Tavern Masters shot glasses that each have one of the different characters. And eventually, once those kind of take off, I'm going to start putting out like collectible, like additional shot glasses for different special
We're gonna have to get those
events.
shot glasses for movie night.
And here's the reason for the shot
awesome.
glasses. It's not just to have a shot glass.
it's probably a token in the game too, isn't it?
Whatever you're playing the game, since it's all simultaneous play,
power. It was like a Weebo or something, like Amiibo.
Whenever you finish your round, you put the shot glass face down to show you're done with your turn, so everyone knows when everyone's done. Because you're playing 6 people, you're all like, "Hey, is everyone done? I thought everyone was still playing." You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
But there's also a card. I think it's actually in the Tavern menu deck. It might be something, but there's a version of the game where you can play with drinking, you know, shots. So where if you're the last one to finish your turn, you got to pour a shot in that shot glass. Take a shot before you turn it over.
Oh my goodness!
You know, like if you're the last to finish your
It's a
round
good thing
actions.
it's a shorter run game because we would die.
It'd be like King's Cup all over again.
Well, for years people kept telling me, "You got to find a way to make a drinking game out of this." I'm like, okay, you know.
Dude, this is. I mean, and this is so crazy. It's like this is a great game.
I know, man. I love it.
And it's all. And you're living here in Southeast Texas, just making these board games.
Dude, that's what's so cool about A to Z is, man, we bring people on, and that was kind of our initial like thesis for this thing is to find people that are doing cool stuff in our area and really highlight them no matter how big or small they are, what they're doing. And it's really cool that like Dan just lives right down the road.
Yeah,
just, like,
it's
right
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad y'all have me on.
And this is
Thank you so
internationally
much.
distributed. I mean, it's
anytime you want to
man.
just have me on too, you just want like someone to chat with, I'm happy to come by.
Absolutely.
Going on our list.
I'm
sure.
very long-winded and you know, hot-winded too, I'm sure. So.
You're gonna be our nerd ambassador now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Our board game ambassador.
All right, guys. Well, thanks, Dan, for coming on.
Yes,
make
sir.
sure you guys go to the website. Make sure you go to Beaumont Comic Con when he's there. Find
come
his
see us,
booth.
come play the game.
Yeah.
We'll be running the game.
He'll
at
have
the booth.
some out, and you can just give it a try. You know what I mean? And buy one. Support your local artists. Support your local game designers.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
just come play some games.
Awesome.
That's it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Dan. Go to dankrissgames.com. Go to Bookstand down the street if you like to. He's also on all the social media outlets. You can order his game or you can find it locally, support local business. Because then you can support the creator and the people who stock it at the store at Bookstand. So that's really cool. And what are we doing for the giveaway?
So right now, if you listen to us in the intro, we said we have a giveaway for you if you listen to the end, and that's exactly what we have right here. We have the Cthulhu, the Great Old One. It's a deluxe edition. This is a standalone card game, right? It also comes with an expansion pack, right?
Yeah.
These things are really cool. This is a deluxe edition. These are not, when this thing gets reprinted, it's not going to be like this again. It's kind of the first run, so it's very special. But if you call our phone number, 409-206-2971, it's going to be in there. If you're just listening, 409-206-2971. So call, leave us a comment. It could be positive, it could be negative. You could tell us you love what we're doing. You could simply say, I want that Cthulhu game. You could say, I watch your tier list video and you guys don't know dick about food. Just give us a call, leave a message, and we'll pick one of you guys at random. We'll feature.
Make sure you leave your name.
Make sure you leave your name. That way we know who to give this to.
Yeah.
We'll feature your message on like the next one we do, and we'll announce you as the winner. And you can pick it up at our studio, or we'll find a way to give it to you.
We'll ship it to you.
But
for
this
the
is gonna
first
be
time.
fun, you guys. We're gonna do these things from now
cool.
on. We have a lot of guests that come in that do really cool stuff like this, and we're gonna take advantage of that and hopefully give back to you as a community.
Yeah, and a special shout out to our own little community, our patrons on Patreon. We got Jordan Stringer, Lance Killian, Brian Castino, Doug Waldrop, Michael Sarr, Ben McClellan, Randy Edwards, Allie Gillette, Allison Pierce, and our most recent one, Lauren Bebo over at Southeast Texas Foodies. Thank you so much. Y'all help us keep the lights on. Y'all help us pay some bills. And it's not just that, but it's the moral support. You know,
Yeah,
it's like it's
for
really
sure, for
cool
sure.
that people think we're as valuable as Hulu, guys. Okay, these people think we're as valuable as their Netflix account.
Some of these guys think we're twice as valuable.
Twice as Disney
twice as
Plus
much.
valuable,
Yeah.
you know?
Wow.
If you're interested in becoming a patron, head on over to patreon.com/A2ZBMT.
And also, make sure you tune in next week. We have a Thanksgiving episode coming out for you guys. It's going to be
I picked Thanksgiving to release it because Stephen Machutka is the wood pastor,
He's
and
a
he
wood
is
pastor.
just an all-around. He's a family guy,
Salt
man.
of the earth guy.
Yeah.
You know, works with wood. It's
real
it's gonna be a
humble,
great
real,
episode.
real,
you know,
really cool dude, and
we
his-
had a good time. And I like looking at his Instagram. We'll talk about all
it's
kinds of
so
stuff. So make sure you come back. And then also, if you have a guest that you think would be a great fit, maybe a storyteller, maybe somebody that has a very interesting occupation or something like that.
Still looking for an octogenarian with some snap, man. I want
still
to
looking
talk
for, like,
about
a-
old Beaumont.
You know, I'm looking for like someone who could tell us the finer points between a dove and a pigeon.
That
You know
too.
what I mean? Like, I don't care.
Two
Whatever.
dog trainers, everything.
Dog
we're
trainers,
trying to hook it all up.
Anyway, just send them our way. You know the spiel by now. Just tell them to get at us, slide up in our DMs. And
Hashtag
you know
make
what?
Beaumont wild again.
Oh yeah, we on that. We back on that. Back on that hashtag. Anyway, guys, this has been Zach and Aaron. We'll see you next time on Thanksgiving. That's gonna be cool. All right.
Real sweet.